for workers' compensation, it's often twice as expensive to insure an above ground cleaning worker versus somebody who remains on the ground. So with our drone, we can safely relocate these workers to the ground so that no one has to get hurt, but really above all, nobody has to die.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello, everyone. This is Randy Goers, and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 374. What's better than two men on a high scaffold? If you ask today's guest, he would say one drone controlled from the ground. Andrew Asher is founder and CEO of Lucid Drone Technologies, a North Carolina-based company that builds industrial spraying drones for labor-intensive tasks. The company's goal is simple: provide customers with a safer, faster, and smarter alternative to traditional spraying methods while reducing costs and adding top-line revenue. Lucid began in 2018 with the vision of retrofitting existing off-the-shelf drones to handle exterior soft washing. After a significant investment of time and money, the founders learned that the drone they needed was unavailable in the marketplace. The right product and support required to be successful had to be designed and built from the ground up. That's where Lucid excels. Andrew manages the overall operations of Lucid, including product development, strategic partnerships, and investor relations. He is a prolific learner with a demonstrated track record for extreme productivity. He graduated with a double major from Davidson College in just 3 years while founding Lucid. In this episode of the Drone Radio Show, Andrew talks about Lucid Drone Technologies, its revolutionary C1 cleaning drone, and how it's disrupting the industrial cleaning industry by providing a solution that is much faster and safer than traditional cleaning methods. But before we hear from Andrew, I want to thank those of you who are supporting my podcast and have joined the community of Drone Radio Show advocates. As a Drone Radio Show advocate, you're able to talk about current shows, bounce around ideas for future episodes, suggest questions of upcoming guests, and gain access to exclusive content. I especially want to thank and acknowledge Lamir Carter for his continuing support. To become a Drone Radio Show advocate, go to patreon.com/Drone Radio Show. And by the way, if you have a great story on the use of drones that you'd like to share in a podcast, contact me at randy@droneradioshow.com. So let's find out how a new drone company is disrupting the industrial cleaning market with Andrew Asher of Lucid Drone Technologies. Let's pick up the interview where I asked Andrew to introduce himself.
I'm Andrew Asher, and I'm the founder of Lucid Drone Tech.
Andrew, tell us about Lucid Drone Technologies. What does the company do?
So the vision of what we're doing here is building robots that perform labor-intensive jobs. And the first product for us is a drone that can clean buildings. So today our drones do anything from washing windows to roofs and nearly every surface in between. And our primary audience is we're selling this drone to cleaning companies. And the whole point is we want to help them do more jobs in less time, and most of all with less liability.
The name of your cleaning drone is the Lucid C1. How does it work?
In the simplest terms, it's a drone connected to an on-ground cleaning system, and it's spraying a liquid solution onto the building. And the way our drones clean is by a method known as soft washing. So think about a commercial building that's got mold growing on a stone or brick surface. What our customers will do is they'll attach their cleaning system, so attach a hose to the drone, they'll fly to the height where the stain is at, and they'll spray a cleaning solution onto the building in order to remove that mold, remove that stain from the building. And for our drones, it's not really about the pressure. It's really about the cleaning solution these customers use that's really the magic of the cleaning process. On a technical front, we could go deep into the weeds here, but at a high level, we build a really unique drone because our drones are often flying in fairly close proximity to buildings. Let's call it 10 to 15 feet. And sometimes these are in more urban environments. So, as you probably know, being in the drone space, a lot of drones can't fly in those environments today because you have really high sources of interference, like electromagnetic interference, multipathing from other built structures that surround you. So, what we've really specialized in is building this heavy lift industrial drone that's able to fly in these more complicated environments where most drones can't today.
How heavy is the drone?
So the drone itself, if you don't count the weight of the batteries, right now it's at about 27 pounds. With the batteries, it's closer to 36. I'm excited to say our product team is doing some pretty incredible things where that weight's getting lighter and lighter.
Is the cleaning solution stored on the ground and then pumped up to the drone?
The simple answer is yes. The liquid is stored on the ground in larger tanks so that the drone doesn't have to carry the full weight of the solution. We actually recently launched a payload where you can put a small quantity of cleaning solution on the drone itself. And then all you have to do is feed water to the drone. And then on board the drone, we can mix the cleaning solution and water and go back and forth, which makes for a really simple user experience.
How high can it fly since it is tethered to a tank?
So for us, it's not a technical limitation. The one we have to be mindful of is the 55-pound weight restriction. Every company uses slightly different variations of hoses, but for the one that most of our customers will use, at about the 10-story mark is when you hit that 55-pound weight limit. But the great news there is over 99% of the buildings in the United States are 10 stories and below.
So it sprays the solution onto the building or window. How about washing the solution off and then drying the surface?
If you're cleaning a window, it's really a two-step process where you'll go up and you'll spray this cleaning solution that breaks down the bird poop, the spider webs, whatever gunk happens to be on the window. And then as a second step, the drone would then spray filtered, deionized water to remove that solution, remove all the gunk. And because it's filtered, when it dries on the window, it leaves it spot-free and streak-free.
Give us a rundown of the benefits to your clients of using a Lucid cleaning drone.
There are a lot of layers of value. One of the first one is a time savings. What we hear from a lot of our customers is that they tend to spend more time setting up to do a job than they spend actually cleaning because they have to rely on really inefficient equipment like climbing up on ladders, on lifts, on swing stages. And if you take that example of a lift, you need to relocate it a lot, not just vertically, but also horizontally to clean some of these bigger buildings. So oftentimes our customers are able to complete a project in a fraction of the time as what it used to take them with traditional methods. Another benefit for them is the actual equipment savings. If we stay focused on lifts, they can be really, really expensive. If you wanted to rent a 120-foot lift, it's going to cost over $10,000 a month. So it's a really high price point. And then the last big point here is the actual insurance savings. It will vary state by state, but for workers' compensation, it's often twice as expensive to insure an above ground cleaning worker versus somebody who remains on the ground. So with our drone, we can safely relocate these workers to the ground so that no one has to get hurt, but really above all, nobody has to die.
Does your company build the drones, or are you adapting a commercially available drone?
Yeah, that's a great question. For us, we are the technology developer and provider. This is a drone that we customize and purpose build for this application of cleaning because it really is such a unique application in the drone space. Today, most drones, they're typically smaller platforms and they carry a fixed payload like a camera. And at the end of the day, their objective is to collect data from the world around them. So for us, we quickly recognize we've got a lot more technical challenges and we couldn't just take a drone off the shelf. And we had to really build this solution from the ground up. And to tell a quick story from our personal history, We tried to take a drone off the shelf from a very well-known drone company based out of China early on and build hardware and software around it for the purpose of cleaning. We quickly learned that it couldn't do what we wanted it to from a technical perspective. But more importantly, we kept having a lot of frustrations with the drone not working, and then we couldn't get a hold of anybody for support. I don't know if you've ever had any personal drone maintenance issues, but drones can behave very similar to cars, where they do need maintenance from time to time. The same way you need to replace the tires on your car, you'll need to replace the motors on your drone. And with this company I'm referencing, we had a couple issues where on the two times we had an issue and they solved it, it took them 4.5 months on average. And on another issue, they never solved it. And we were down a $30,000 drone that only flew once.
Yeah, it's hard to build a business if you can't be out there actually doing business.
Exactly. The lost opportunities and the lost revenue were really frustrating. And that's been one of our fundamental insights is the drone is a revenue generating tool for our customers. They can't afford to be down for months and months. So what we've really excelled at as a company is building this full stack solution and customer experience where not only do we try to build great technology, we try to make it a really seamless experience for our customers to learn how to use our platform. And then we also provide them access with the ongoing support and repairs as they need it.
As best possible, can you describe the drone?
The drone is a hexacopter. It has 6 arms. When it's fully unfolded from end to end, it's about 4.5 feet and 2 feet tall. So it's a very significant sized drone, but one thing we've really focused on is making it easy to transport. So you can fold up this drone in about 30 seconds and it folds down into a 2-foot cube, which makes it really easy to put in a case and then, carry in the back of your truck, your trailer, your work vehicle. And it's mainly black carbon fiber with some lucid blue highlights on it.
And where is the spray nozzle? Is it located on a wand or within the housing of the drone?
The spray nozzle is located underneath the body of the drone, and it extends just past the motors. And then it's got a lot of good distance. So again, typically the nozzle's about 10 to 15 feet away from the surface it's spraying.
What have you done to make it easy for your customers to operate the drone and get the results that they're looking for?
I'd say the 2 biggest ones to focus on would be one, obstacle avoidance. We've got obstacle avoidance that makes it very difficult to run into anything where you could be facing the wall you're cleaning, holding forward on the pitch stick, actively trying to fly it into something, and the drone's going to stop you at this distance barrier time and time again. The other thing we've done is really focus on refining our positioning system. So, right now, if you were to be here with me in Charlotte, I could take our drone up in the air. We could go grab a coffee, come back in 10 minutes. That drone would be in the same position down to give or take centimeter level precision. And what we've done is we've programmed this drone such that we've kind of governed the speed of it in terms of how fast you fly left to right, how fast you yaw. Because again, we're not needing to do high-speed filming applications where our drones are flying 65 miles an hour. They're more or less operating at a walking pace. So for our pilots, it's very difficult to get out of control because we have programmed it such that it's got that high-end positioning, but it also never moves too quickly so that you get ahead of yourself while cleaning a building.
Is the drone capable of doing other things while cleaning the building? I mean, can it inspect at the same time?
Our drones have connectivity capabilities, and for that, there's a lot of layers of value. As I mentioned a bit at the beginning, today most drones are used simply as ways to collect data. And while we're more focused on these drone applications where there's a physical interaction and they're affecting the world around them, not just collecting data from the world around them, we want to continue to evolve our data picture where while our customers are cleaning a building, could they also take that sensor input to do things like inspect the building and say, hey, Randy, your window needs to be recaulked here, or you're having heat loss in this type of the building. I know one common complaint we hear from property owners and managers is one of their most expensive things to fix is water intrusion, but oftentimes you don't know you have a leak until it's too late.
Anything special about the batteries?
So today I'd say they're very similar to most of the industry outside of the fact the batteries are going to be industrial grade. So they're much larger than, say, your standard FPV drone.
Let's talk about the history of the company. First of all, how old is Lucid Drone Technologies?
We incorporated in the winter of 2018. So we're roughly 4 years old, but the idea started in what would have been the fall of 2017.
Is there a story behind the formation of the company? Or more specifically, a story about why you chose cleaning drones?
There's certainly a story there. One day, we saw these window washers hanging off a building in Charlotte, and it was a fairly windy day, and you just saw this platform slamming against the side of the building. And the workers up there were hanging on for dear life, and everybody looking on at this scene, I think, was experiencing the same level of fear and terror. And it didn't even seem like the most profound thought at the time. It almost seemed obvious. And the whole thought was, how could we possibly leverage technology to make this a safer job? We just became obsessed with wanting to solve that problem because what we realized is commercial real estate is this massive asset class. Globally, it's worth over $30 trillion. And what everybody in the real estate space will tell you is if you want to retain the value of a property, you need to take good care of it. You've got to clean it. You need to maintain it. But right now, we were relying on these really slow, costly, and dangerous ways to clean buildings. And with this technology, we could make it safer. We could make it more efficient. And we've just been dead set on solving that problem ever since.
How did you go from the idea to starting the company?
It was a bit of a roller coaster journey. And I think a lot of it was shaped by still being college students. So we looked at the different entrepreneurship initiatives our college had. And I'll never forget one of the earliest chapters of that journey. We applied for this $5,000 quote unquote failure fund our school had for entrepreneurs. You were supposed to submit your entrepreneurial idea. And if you got it, they give you $5,000 to go invest in the opportunity and try to make it successful. But with the understanding of, hey, we want you to take risks and maybe you'll fail, but at least you'll learn something. We didn't get that. So we failed to get the failure fund, which we always joke was a bit funny. But nonetheless, we continued forward because we really wanted to prove this out. And we ended up winning the college's venture fund competition a couple months later, which I think at the time it was a $25,000 prize. And around that time, we had just proven out the concept with our first drone that we could spray water on a building. We hadn't yet figured out how to clean the building, but we could spray water on it. We were starting to get some interest from different startup accelerator programs as well as investors. And the one thing they kept saying is, hey, this is a really great idea, but it's not a great idea as a side hustle because we were juniors in college at the time. But I looked at my transcript and realized, holy crap, I could actually get out of here in 3 years with my degree. And I decided to graduate a year early and really focus on building the company full time. So that's a bit of how we got started. And there are a lot of humbling learning lessons that first year out to get us to where we are today. But it's been a very rewarding journey at the same time.
How much did you have to invest in learning about the cleaning industry itself?
It's a great question because I think people often look at what we do and they quickly acknowledge, wow, there's so much innovation and research that went into making this drone possible. And that's very true. Yet at the same time, they think cleaning something that's simple. And there was actually a lot of research that needed to be done on the best cleaning methods, best cleaning solutions. And the place we started was by going out and trying to be the cleaning company, providing the services to really learn the pain points of the industry, but more importantly, show that drone cleaning could work and work well. So in the first couple of months I was working on the company full time, I cleaned over 50 properties, both by hand and with a drone. And I can tell you, I've never been more scared than when I was standing on top of a lift platform, fairly high up, looking down. and thinking, ooh, I'm much more comfortable and sure-footed when I'm firmly planted on the ground versus on top of this platform.
Going back to the image of the two men on a scaffold, are we about to see that image replaced by Lucid cleaning drones?
Actually, at this point, see our drones in a lot of different markets. We've got customers now in over 18 states and counting, and it's been really rewarding because I can type in drone cleaning on different social media platforms and see the various projects our customers are now doing. And it's really exciting because there are almost so many of them now. They're getting hard to keep track of, and you can't keep tabs on every single project. So sometimes you'll go on Facebook or Instagram, whatever it happens to be, and see just a jaw-dropping project a customer completed. One recent example that comes to mind, we had a customer clean an incredibly large stadium dome with our drone, and the before and after pictures and videos of that project, they were just simply stunning.
How does that make you feel?
It brings me a lot of joy. You know, when I first started, I think I was still, let's almost call it too naive to even know what this could become. All I knew was that I wanted to create impactful technology that could positively affect others. And that's always kind of been at the core of my identity, the core of our company's identity. I was having a conversation with our product manager not too long ago, and he said something that really stuck with me. He recently had a daughter, and he's been, thinking a lot of fatherly thoughts these days. He goes, Andrew, one day I'm going to be on a family road trip. And we're going to be driving down a highway, and we're going to see a drone cleaning a building, and I'm going to get to tell my daughter the story of how I helped bring that product to market. And that was just really meaningful to hear because now I get to share this joy, this vision with everybody I work with and all of our customers, and just see it grow with each passing day and each passing year. This is the future of the cleaning industry. So it's exciting to be at the forefront of it.
What advice would you give to other entrepreneurs who are looking to create their own business?
I think this is general advice for anyone that wants to be an entrepreneur, that wants to get into the startup world. The best thing you can do is adopt a growth mindset. And by that, I mean, you need to lean into learning. Sometimes people get trapped in this fixed mindset where they say, I'm only good at this, I'll never be good at that, and that's just who I am. But the truth of it is, as humans, we're remarkable learners and we're very adaptable in nature. For me, my college education was in economics and Spanish, and I started a robotics company. So hopefully I can be that testament for others that you really can learn new things. And in the startup world, there's never a shortage of challenges or problems to be solved. So when you have that growth mindset and you lean into learning and it's just something you love to do, you can be fairly successful in this space because that's really what the name of the game is being able to tackle challenges head on and just keep going in the face of adversity, because it's oftentimes that these bumpy roads will lead to beautiful places.
How did you navigate the funding question and raising of capital? You had the initial $25,000 startup grant, but how did the company grow financially?
So I think one of the obvious things to acknowledge is when you start a company that's, let's call it, we're not a hardware company. So much of what we do is software, but we do have hardware as part of our picture where we've got to buy inventory and interact with a physical product. It is a bit capital intensive in nature. So we knew from the early days we were going to have to raise capital to really grow and scale the business. And when I think about each different level of our journey, the number one thing I point back to is the power of a network. The way we raised our earliest capital was through our kind of local community and the people that knew us, knew our story, and really believed in us as individuals before we necessarily had a working product or a working business. But with, again, each successive chapter of our growth, of our business, that fundraising picture often goes back to the power of our network, where it's all about who we know and who knows us, because it's very difficult to fundraise from people you don't know well. So what I often recommend to people that know they want to start a startup that might require venture capital, it's focus a lot on building high quality relationships. And that will help you in a multitude of areas, but fundraising is certainly one of them.
So what's the future hold for Lucid Drone Technologies?
At the moment, we're very focused on the cleaning drone. This is a really large beachhead market opportunity for us where we could expand a lot before we really run out of market opportunity. But at the core of what we do for Lucid, our truest vision is we want to build responsible robotics that empower people to live better lives. And what I mean by that is we feel today there aren't enough people in this world that focus on solving truly meaningful problems, whether that be hunger, homelessness, human safety, you name it. And by building these robotic solutions that do labor intensive tasks, we're contributing towards solving some of those problems. Like in our first application, human safety is a great example. But what we're also doing with the added efficiency of our product, we're now freeing more of our human talent to go pursue increasingly creative and meaningful work opportunities where they're addressing these other fundamental issues that afflict humanity. So for us, it's really taking this core technology we've developed with the cleaning drone and continuing to expand into future applications with it. Because when we think about our product, the way we refer to it internally, we call it an industrial robotic platform that today just so happens to fly, it just so happens to clean, but we could put different payloads on it, or we like to call them top hats, that empower it to do different things like painting, de-icing, applying sealants, and a whole host of other use cases.
Is there anything that we missed that we should talk about?
Again, I think one element that might be worth mentioning is the fact that we're doing this domestically. We engineer domestically, we assemble, we support domestically. And that's something we're seeing is increasingly important in this day and age. In the robotic space, especially the drone space, data privacy is a big concern. We've already seen international drone manufacturers be seen as guilty in the eyes of not protecting the data privacy of their customers. So that's something that we're very mindful of, wanting to be good stewards of data, because we know what we're building is the inevitable version of the future, and there's a lot of good to come from our technology. And we always want to be the responsible partners for our customers, not the ones taking advantage of their data.
And for my final question, Andrew, what message would you like to leave regarding the future of the drone industry?
Drones have already proved they can fundamentally impact the way businesses do operations. But what Lucid is doing is trying to challenge that view even further by showing that drones can do so much more than just collecting data. Again, they can be used as these productive instruments that are doing some type of good, meaningful task, like cleaning a building or one day painting that building, so that we can perform this work with greater efficiency, safety, and more cost effectiveness as well.
That's it for episode 374 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Andrew Esner of Lucid Drone Technologies. I want to thank Andrew for taking the time to speak with me. If you want to learn more about Lucid or want to connect with Andrew, check out the webpage at luciddronetech.com. If you like the Drone Radio Show, then become a part of the community of Drone Radio Show advocates, where we can connect on a more informal basis. For more information, go to patreon.com/Drone Radio Show. And thanks for listening. Your support means a lot to me, and I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Goers.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.